Welcome to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So, stay with us as right now we present. Do you want to be a writer? Do you know what screenwriting is and the difference between that and being a novelist? Do you recognize how difficult it can be to be a writer and how it is really hard for all to cover all the bases? Well, we've got a gal with us today. Her name is Olivia Barry, and she is a writer. She is also a screenwriter, and she works to develop not only her genre, but she helps other people and from time to time, and she wants to put on retreats and to help writers get the word out about what they do. And so I thought we'd just have a little conversation and talk to Olivia. She's been on the show before. She's got a great book out that I want to remind you of, which is called The House in Between.
The Hours.
The hours in between.
Sorry.
That's all right.
It's almost the same thing. So don't worry.
The hours in between is because I can't apparently read English. But and that book's been out for a little while now, and it's doing well. And so I thought we'd just chat about that and screenwriting and the new book that you have coming out. It's in May 22nd. It's coming out in, and you'll be able to pick that up. So I just thought we'd just chat for a little bit. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, it's glad to have you back because it's, writing is one of those intense things that is really difficult to to get really good at. And when you're doing screenwriting and you're doing all the things that you're doing, you are serious about this, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I've been doing it for many years now, and I always wanted to be a writer, so it was always in the back of my mind, even while I tried to study business for a little while, and it didn't go too well. And then I ended up back writing, and I always wanted to be a writer. But sometimes it takes a lot of, and I think a lot of other writers or people who would love to start writing can emphasize with this. It takes a lot of persistence. You can't give up because things rarely happen overnight. I mean, sometimes, occasionally, you hear this one person who has this novel coming out, never wrote a book before, never did anything before, but it's often not true. It's like that they worked 10 years on it, and suddenly the book comes out and everybody talks about it and said, oh, it's overnight. But no.
I'm a firm believer there's no such thing as an overnight success.
No, it's not.
People work really hard. Even really, really talented people like the Beatles were, before they made it big, they were, in Hamburg, Germany, and in little sweaty clubs and all that kind of stuff for years. And so it takes a long time.
Yes.
And so you've got to have, what is it about you? Why do you have the desire to keep going, the intestinal fortitude to make it happen?
Mainly because I don't know what else I could do.
Oh, now you're very talented. You can do a lot.
It's just, I think there's a point where you feel like giving up, and either you give up at that moment or you keep going. And once you keep going, then your thinking becomes different, because you think, oh my God, I've been doing this for so many years. If I give up now, I will never know, so you keep going and going and going. I think after maybe 3 or 4 years, I had a point where I was thinking, oh, maybe I should do something else. Maybe I should open up a coffee shop, or just something completely different. But then you keep going and going, and then you have little successes, a little here, a little there, and then at some point you just don't give up anymore. And I love it. I just couldn't imagine my life without writing.
There's a famous person, and I can't remember off the top of my head who it is, but this famous person said, "The only time you lose, the only time that you fail is when you quit."
Right, right.
So you gotta
And
keep going.
but I want to say something. Sometimes it's okay, it's okay to say, oh, it didn't work out, it's not really completely my thing, because some people hang in forever and ever, and then they say, why did I even do this, because it was never my thing, really. And so I feel if you feel like giving up, it's not necessarily a bad thing sometimes, It's like just that you want maybe to pursue other things. Somebody who's, for example, really good at music as well might rather play the guitar every day than writing. I'm terrible at it, so it's not an option.
Well, do you know who Bernie Taupin is?
It sounds familiar, but I'm not really completely sure. Who is it?
Well, let me tell you a story. Years and years and years ago, there was a guy by the name of Dwight somebody, and he was matched up because they put these two guys together. He was a wonderful musician and could write melodies, and Bernie Taupin was a wonderful lyricist who could not write songs.
Oh,
And
I remember this, I think. Yeah,
yeah,
continue.
and
Yeah.
when they got together, and Elton John turned in, or Dwight, whatever his name was, turned into Elton John, then they became a duo, and because of his ability to write lyrics, which John could not do, they became famous.
Yeah, I remember this actually, because I remember is there's a documentary out there about Elton John, and they
Yes.
talk about that. Yeah, I do remember. I just couldn't place his name. It sounded really familiar, but I couldn't place his name. But yeah, I know they got together and they were fabulous together. Yeah, yeah.
So, what is the difference between writing a screenplay, writing a novel, being a lyricist? Are they different skills, or are they kind of, if you can write something, you can write anything? What's your opinion on that?
I mean, um, there are a little bit different skills. I mean, I believe, I, I don't know if every writer is good at everything. I couldn't see myself really writing songs or poems, that I would be really great at writing poems or something. I can only talk about screenwriting, being a screenwriter and a novelist, and also writing nonfiction now. Um, they're a little bit different skills, because a novel, there are far more rules to screenwriting than
Yes.
there are rules to novel writing, to writing novels and short stories and novellas. Um, so I believe writers can try to write everything, but in the end, you have to love what you write and the form you're writing in. It took me a little bit when I switched from screenwriting to writing a novel. It really did, because in screenwriting, you're so used to not write what people think, and it's all about, you show everything, it's all about showing, because you see it on the screen. I mean, nowadays it's a little bit different when we talk about TV writing, because there's a lot of dialogue going on, and instead of like the big motion picture where the first 5 minutes you would be drawn into the story just by seeing visuals without any kind of um, dialogue. And so it's a different form.
When you're writing a screenplay, and you because you have to come up with the blocking and where everybody's going to be and all that kind of stuff at the same time that you're writing the dialogue. Is that right?
I mean, plotting is more for plays, that you know where people stand and are. But obviously, I'm telling a story in pictures. I'm when I write, if you would read one of my screenplays, you can see it in front of your eyes, as a movie. So I'm trying to write in a way that if somebody reads it, they can visually see the TV series or the movie. They can just see what is happening, what is unfolding. And I think I translated this also to my novel because the the feedback I get the most from readers is that I could see everything. So I think I just kind of prodded to my novel, my screenwriting skills, you know.
So when you write a novel and you've got screenwriting skills so that you can visualize and you can create a visual picture that
Mhm.
people are looking at when they are reading the screenplay, so that the director knows how where to put the characters and all that kind of stuff. But you
Exactly.
translate that into a novel, and then it's like reading a book that, a really good book is like watching a movie because you can picture what's going on in your own head because the writer's being really self-descriptive about everything, right?
Right. But I'm not overly self-descriptive. There are some people that can write pages and pages of wonderful, beautiful words, describing one mountain or something. And um, I do that as well, hopefully, but a shorter version of it. Just,
Well,
you want to find the balance between, I want to find the balance between plot and description and dialogue and characters, and there has to be a certain balance in what I write. There is no right or wrong way, for writers to do it right. For me, it's right if I can evoke emotions in people, in the reader. I want them to get away with something. That when they read my book, that they feel something.
how do you do that?
You draw them in and you don't let them go until the very end.
But you recognize that's a skill unto itself, all by itself, because you have to be able to put the reader in a position where they can't put it down. Because I've heard that a lot, when people say, "I picked up this book and I cannot put it down," because it means a lot to them, and they feel really good about the story and what's happening there, and they want to continue reading it.
Yeah, it's either that the story, that they're really really within the story, that they want to be part of it and go with it and figure out what comes next, or it's also like really funny, and you have just a good time for a couple of hours, or you draw them in emotionally with that they really think about it and say, "Oh my God," and have emotional reactions to your book, and that usually comes through characters.
How do you develop a character? I've tried. God knows I've tried to sit down and say, okay, because I was told one time that before you write your book, you have to write the character and who they are and what personality traits they have and why they would be in this situation and stuff. I've tried. I cannot, for the life of me, come up with a three-dimensional character.
Yeah, I don't. I know that from screenwriting that many people say, oh, you should write a whole character page,
Yeah.
how old is the character, where do they come from, what did the grandmother do, and all these things. And for me, it's a little bit different. Let's say I kind of know, for example, it's going to be a woman in her 30s, mid 30s, who just comes out of a failed relationship. And I just start with that. And I start writing. And while I'm writing, things come up. Oh, suddenly she likes to play tennis. I don't know where this comes from, but it just fits within the story. It fits her character because she's very athletic. Oh, she's athletic. So what kind of friends does she have? It's like it just comes while I'm writing. I literally I write my character bios are like 2 sentences for each character at the beginning. That's all I know when I start writing the book. And then I develop the character. I write many drafts. I'm not a one draft person.
Do,
It's like
do you do you find that as you're developing the story, as you're going through writing the book, that you get surprised by some of the things that happen within it?
yes, definitely. Every single time. I do. I do. It's suddenly something comes up. And I'm working right now on another novel, and you know, this girl, she's in that town, and suddenly she's on a bike, and she had not been on a bike for 10 years, and she remembers her father while she's on that bike ride. And I never thought about that before, honestly. It's not that I was thinking, oh, chapter 4, she should get on a bike and remember her father. It just came up because her car broke down. And then now she's on this old bike because she can't afford really the repairs. And but all the thinking that she is doing while she is riding through town on that bike, I really, it just came up. It just not nothing that I was premeditating, or that would be just too hard for me. I mean, I just have to write it. I kind of know where the story is going. I do outline, but I loosely outline. I mean, I have an outline, so I kind of know, oh, I'm going in a certain direction, and I'm not getting completely lost, because you want to try to avoid that, because you can get like little blocked. I mean, and don't know anymore what to do with the story. So I'm loosely outlining, so I know where I'm going, but I don't know the details at all of my story. The first draft is hard because you have to come up with all these details, and the following drafts are much easier for me. I like rewriting. I'm a big rewriter. So
Now, when somebody comes to you with a project like a book or a screenplay and wants you to read it for them, do you have do any of that?
yes, I do. I give development notes. So development notes is not line editing. It's not that I go line by line looking where a comma is missing and stuff like that. I'm going into the development of a screenplay or development of a novel. And what I do is I look at character development, character arcs, at the pacing of the story. I look if there are ways to cut down the story or enhance the story if it needs more. Um, I I look at the whole overall development, and I want to see if it works. The book works from beginning till end, and um, I give such a, I mean, I give the writers ideas, but that doesn't mean that they have to take them. You know, I just give them new ideas to think about. You know, and from there, sometimes for them come even different ideas.
How do you know when the book is done? When you get to the last chapter, how do you know to wrap it up? Or because I assume, since you're talking about people's lives, they could continue on for a long time.
um, how do I know when it's done? I think I think it has to come to a conclusion of some kind. Unless you write obviously a series, then you can continue with their lives, and you just have in the second and third and fourth book different problems, and you encounter different scenarios. But you do continue maybe with that character's life. If you have a standalone book, um, it has to come to some kind of a conclusion. You set up the book at the beginning with a dilemma. So the character is facing a dilemma, and this dilemma has to be resolved at the end of the book.
How do you know when you're going to kill a character off?
Um,
Does that come at the very beginning, or do the characters evolve, and then the way that the story's got to go, you recognize that a particular participant in the story has to die?
um, yes, I mean, if you write, I would assume if you write a thriller, and that is not, it's a genre I love to read. It's not a genre right now I'm writing in. If you write, if you if you write a thriller, then you probably will know who gets killed. I assume that you kind of know, but also I've heard there are thriller writers who said, "Oh, they were surprised that this character had to die." What I'm writing, if somebody is not useful to my story, I just cut out the whole character most likely.
Oh,
You know, if I feel sometimes you have like side characters, you think, oh, the friend of the main character, it's a good idea, and then it doesn't feel right, and then I'm just getting rid of the whole character, not just kill the character in the middle of the book. I just take the character out.
and then you're rewriting the whole book. It seems like if you got a character that you
Yeah,
just take out.
you know, I how I work is I write a first draft, and then the second draft is the overall development of my book. So I write a first draft, the second draft, I look what really works and what doesn't work. So if something doesn't work, I just take it out at that point, and to get a tighter draft. And then I go on to the third draft where I look a lot only what characters do so that they are organic to the story, and also that if a character is, for example, health conscious, that she is not eating french fries in every chapter on the way. That's a stupid example, but something like this. You know, I'm looking really in depth into the characters of the story and make them organic to the story. And then I look at dialogue and pacing and little things that you overlook. You know, there's so much going on. I mean, 350 pages. It's a lot to remember, you know, to get it all right. Sometimes suddenly I'm in November and I thought, why am I in November? It was just July. You know, it's like it's a lot of details.
Yep, and it's a lot of work. It's
a lot
it's
of
a
work.
but you do it because you love it and you're passionate about it, which is why you don't quit.
That's
Look,
right.
by the way, if you would like to contact Olivia or at least go to her webpage, you can do that, and it's www.olivia-barry.com, and it's Barry with a Barry. And that's her website. She's got all kinds of lovely things here. And you're about to ready to update your website to include the new book that's coming out, which is Mornings in 50 Words. What is that book going to be about?
So it's a nonfiction book. It's a book about positive thinking, and a book about every day finding something valuable that interests you, something new to learn, a new idea. Just, the little moments in life. It's about little moments, and to write about it. Just 50 words a day, 50 words about something. And it could be anything. It's not like a book about one subject. It's you wake up in the morning, you look out of the window, you see across the street a beautiful tree. Why not write 50 words about that tree? And just start your morning in a positive way.
Yes, and that's almost kind of like a meditative experience because you're just relaxing and being with your own thoughts and creating.
Yeah, I call it soul moments, to let your soul speak. And I give examples in the book. There are 365 examples, every day one. And they are the wildest things. I talk about everything. For example, I have an entry about coffee. How many different coffees are out there, what you can buy nowadays. It's amazing. Or I have an entry, it says all my O's, like all words that start with the letter O. It just came up to me. It just popped up in my mind, and I thought, oh, why not write about it? And it's just 50 words. 50 words you can write in 5 minutes or less. It's not. It's not. You don't need a lot of time for it, but it's just a fun book. And at the beginning, it talks a lot about soul moments and about taking things slowly. And sometimes when we have a big project and we get overwhelmed, to take it step by step and not. Uh, think about the big picture, but think about the small picture.
Of
Yeah,
of course, that's really cool. Could you read you don't have that book right in front of you, do you?
I don't have it because it will. I tell you one thing: it comes out only in the Kindle format,
Oh, okay.
because there is a lot of photography in there and emojis and fun things, and it would be so expensive to print it that I don't think it would be worthwhile for the readers or for myself to do it. And also, but I want to mention something that it's a little bit of a charity book, because every book that will be sold, $1 will go to a charity, and I have 12 charities I name within the book, and the goal is to give hopefully $500 to each charity. And yeah, it's just a fun little book, and I thought I just wanted to do it, you know.
Well, by all means, you should just do it then.
Yeah, it is like I love it. I love it because it's so positive in every form, It's just a positive endeavor towards good causes. So, yeah.
Which now, how'd you come up with the charities?
Um, I did. I mean, some of them I know because I support them, but others I just did a lot of research to see which charities give the most amount of what they get really to the charity and not to other other things, you know. So I have charities like I have all kind of charities that support animals, charity that support kids, charity that support cancer, all kind of different things. And I'm open always to hear from readers. If there's another charity they would like to put on the list, I will list them on my website. And then every time when a goal is met, and money goes to the charity, it will be announced on my website. I wanted to have a charity button and all of this, but it's so complicated that I thought I just do it this way, you know, and I hope the readers trust me enough that I will do it. And so their money, certainly, if they have a charity they really want to support and I hear it over and over, then I'm happy to put it on the list. And yeah, and then I thought, oh, it's a nonfiction book. And just last week I thought, why don't I write Mornings in 50 Words for Writers?
Oh, that's a good idea.
So that will be the next one.
Well, it's kind of like what is it? It's some pick a topic, any topic for dummies. It's like
Yeah,
Windows
exactly.
Windows for Dummies
Yeah.
or
Anything is for dummies out there. You can have Buddhism for dummies, you know,
yeah.
grammar for dummies, you know, it's yeah. I mean, I'm not going to write that many, but I think Mornings in 50 Words for Writers would be a great thing where I focus just on writing, and then maybe Mornings in 50 Words for Travelers. That is also my kind of thing.
Oh,
So
that's a good one.
so those three. But this one is for any anybody can participate in this. It's about soul moments. It's about going out in the morning, and even if you don't feel so well, and even if you have a really bad day and you have a lot of problems, which we all have, you know, and life is not always like that easy for many people, and I do realize that. And I think we need something to hold on to, and it's really, you know, it's just going, like, let's say you go to work and you say to yourself, let's find one soul moment this morning for myself. One thing that I really like. Is it maybe the clean air, or a flower you see, or a cute dog on the way, or a baby that is cute, or just you hear a melody? It can be, or you smell the fresh bread, the scent of the fresh bread coming from the bakery, or something like that. So
There's nothing that smells as good
I
as
know.
bread that is coming out of the oven.
I know.
That is the coolest thing in the world. It really is. So, um, this book is coming out, and you know, and when you were talking about editing, I was just thinking to myself, what a job. You're looking for, because they have to go line by line, don't they? Looking for punctuation and the wrong use of a word, the wrong spelling, and
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I have so I try to find all my mistakes, and I go, this is the last draft, you know, when you go through it over and over, you look at every line, every word, and but then I have somebody who reads it, and she is very good, and she reads through it and looks like for the itsy bitsy little stuff, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
particular skill you need to find all these little things, and there's always something. Believe me, there's always something. You know, it's never ending.
I had a gentleman that I drove a bus with, and he used to tell me all the time, my dad had a saying, and the saying was, he was Norwegian, I believe, and he was saying, "Oh, it's always Tumpton. Tumpton's always going wrong." So it's always something you got to worry about, and it's like in writing or anything else. But I applaud you for because going through that many edits, it's got to be time consuming and a bit frustrating after a while.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, you know when it's enough, when enough is enough, and when the book is good enough. But I also want to, I want to give the readers my best work.
Yeah.
I want them
Uh-huh.
to be happy. It's not just that they spend some money to buy my book or books. They also take time, to read, and they sit down, and I really truly appreciate it. I mean, I always say it in my newsletter every single time. I say thank you for taking the time to write a review. That's the hardest part. People don't like to write reviews, I noticed, because I have a lot of people who write me messages, personal
Yeah.
messages on my website, and they write me this long thing about how they liked the book or what they thought I could have done better or all kind of things, but then they don't write me a review. And please, please, readers, please write reviews. Please, please, please. We writers need reviews. And yeah.
Well, how many reviews do you have on Amazon, do you
Oh,
think?
not many. Not many. Don't look. Don't look. It's not
I
a
have
part.
to. I
Don't know.
well,
I,
your book is a 5-star review, and there are 15 reviews,
Yeah, and it's out 6 months, or is it now 6 or 7? 6 months it's out,
just barely.
barely
Uh,
6 months. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The reviews is like I have reviews on Goodreads. I have some on Barnes and Noble. I have, but it's not enough. It's not enough for reviews. And now I heard this thing. I heard somebody said, "Yeah, but people buy reviews," and I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. I don't
Gotcha.
want to do that. I don't want to do that. I want people to review my book, and because they honestly want to do it and they've read my book, and I want their honest opinion. If they like it or if they don't like it, that's okay. That's
Mm.
okay. We're entitled to have an opinion, and not everybody has to feel the same about. I don't expect that. I mean, I'm obviously happy when somebody loves my book. Then I'm like, oh, that's so great. Thank you and everything. But I would understand if somebody has a different opinion.
Well, it's like this one. This is from a verified purchaser, and I can't get Olivia Barry's story, "The Hours Between Us," out of my head. It hit very close to me, to humble me in my younger sister who received a fatal diagnosis and stuff. And she goes on, and every family has got the same kinds of things at one point or another. So, congratulations on that book, which is doing well. The second book is going to do even better.
Hopefully.
Yes. Well, we will at least come down and support you a little bit.
Thank you.
So when that happens,
Yeah.
we can do that, and because you're a good writer and you've got something to say, and you want them to feel friendship and love and generosity and all those good things when they read your book, rather than a lot of negativity, hate, division, and fear. So you're doing the right thing, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. No, definitely. I want people um, to be uplifted, and encourage people to go after their dreams, and to to see the positive in life, which is so important for all of us. Because we all have our moments where we are a little down and can't see the real positive sides. And I hope that everybody finds a little bit of encouragement and I hope that people write their 50 words, because it makes a difference. Just to sit down in the morning and say, oh, I'm still in bed, maybe with like cup of coffee, like I have 10 minutes. Let me write 50 words about something that pops into my mind. And it can be 50 words about love, right? About
Yeah.
love. Write about write about your neighbor. Write about anything, write about a piece of paper or what paper means to you, or I mean, it could be anything, and it's 50 words, just 50 words.
If everybody were to take half hour, and even if you are not able to write, even if you can memorize them or a little bit, that's gonna help you.
Yeah.
It's gonna help you to navigate through this thing that we call life, which it can be pretty messy from time to time.
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely. Tell me about it. And it's like, um, and I put myself out there in the book because I really wrote from my personal feelings what sometimes about things. And for example, some mornings I was sitting here at my desk and I thought, what am I going to write for the 50 words this morning? And it started to rain. And so I wrote a little poem about rain. And believe me, I'm not a poet. This is like, it's not great. It doesn't need to be great. That is what I want to do with this book. It doesn't have to be great. The 50 words, and I'm losing this. The 50 words do not have to be great. They just have to be personal. They have to mean something to you. What do you feel that morning? What do you want to write about? So I wrote just throughout the books. You will find a little poem here and there, and it's not great, but it's fun.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
It's just relax and have a good time with it, and I'm excited to see the second book. Now, have you got one that's in the editing? Is that the one that's in the editing process, or is it all done at this
So this one is all done. We already have the book cover, and right now it's the interior design because it's a little bit more complicated. As I said, I love photography, so I put some hopefully people like it, nice photography in there, and I love emojis. I don't know. I just love to speak with emojis. So I have a lot of emojis everywhere. So it's just a little fun book. And, I will keep the price as low as possible. And so that as many people as possible can afford it. And yes, and then I'm working on another novel. Obviously, my main focus is writing novels, but
yes.
um, so so I'm working on the next novel, and yeah.
Now, how long does it take you to kick out a screenplay, like a 2 hour, 10-minute movie? Does it take a while for you to put that together?
A 2-hour movie, a movie script I can write. If I have the idea already, if the idea is for a little bit has been roaming around my mind, um, theoretically, I can write it like in a month or a month and a half. Yeah.
Now, do you subscribe to the? Because there's some books that I've read that they will open with a scene, and something happens during that scene, and then at the end of the first chapter they'll say, and going back 6 months, this is what happened prior to which that caused this.
Yeah. So your question was if I write like that?
If well, does that work just for somebody to write like that?
It does. It can work that you go backwards in time. That that's a format that is often used for thrillers. That you show somebody dead or something, and then you go back in time and you show what led to that scene. I usually, um, I have I wrote one script years ago once that I opened up with a scene that was set basically in the future and now or in the present, but we went back a year earlier what happened and then we went through the whole year to end up at the present again. Yes, I wrote one script once, but that's a
That's pretty
long
cool. That's pretty
yeah.
cool. Now, has any of your scripts been published or made into movies or TV shows yet?
My scripts have been sold, but
Which so
yes.
somebody bought them, but they haven't put it into production yet.
Mhm. I came this close once. Don't ask.
Okay.
Same script, same script 5 times. This close, and it never happened.
And
It's
they
like it was unbelievable. I couldn't I cannot even tell you how I went through so many waves of disappointment with that script because everybody seemed to love it. It's a romantic comedy. I had it optioned, then I had it sold, then it came back to me. It came back to me after it sold because nobody did anything with it, and I had to fight to get it back. I got it back. It was optioned again. Then it went into a possible production phase. Then they had the director and the actress. Then the actress didn't want to do it anymore. It was like it's like I don't know. It changed also. Now a lot changed in the screenwriting industry. That is when I switched to novels because I could feel it. I could feel how hard it would be, you know.
I understand completely. That would be really, really tough. And by the way, again, we are talking with Olivia Barry. She's a writer. She's a screenwriter. She's got the book out. I want to go back to the first book just a little bit and share that with folks because that is entitled
The hours in between.
and it's the hours that a person who has 6 months left to live and what they do in that period of time. And the reviews that I've been getting here are just nothing short of phenomenal. They can't get enough of it. They keep the emotion that you evoke in the reader is exactly what you were saying earlier. Is what you're trying to get from people their is there emotion that you're building the story, and I'm not going to tell people how it ends, but I assume it doesn't end well for somebody. But that could be not true. So you
Uh,
need to read the whole thing.
yeah, the hours in between, you know, the title is The Hours in Between Life and Death, basically. I mean, the title is The Hours in Between, but the meaning one day I thought, because I had a completely different title first, I can't even remember what it was, honestly, because for like the first draft I wrote with a different title, and then one day I was walking and I thought, oh, there is this is actually the hours we have in between life and death, and what do we do with those hours? You know, and the book is um, it's an uplifting book, which sounds strange, but it is, despite everything that is going on in Liz Tate's life. She is, she gets a bad diagnosis. I mean, she's terminal ill, and she decides to change her life. She says, "I'm not taking this. I'm going out and I'm going to live this life." So it's uplifting, actually. It's not, it has nothing to do with medical stuff and hospitals and tragedies and uh, only sad moments. It has a couple of sad moments, I would say, but it's about living, not about dying.
That's
So,
one of those questions that everybody asks at one point or another because I don't know if you know this, but we're all going to die. It
mhm.
it was funny, yesterday. Do you ever get, calls from, places like funeral homes and stuff, and they say, Olivia, we've got a program for you, and it's a insurance program that to cover your final expenses, and so that you don't have to worry about your family. Are you interested in learning more about covering your final expenses? I had that call yesterday.
That's unbelievable. Yeah.
And so they said, "Would you like to continue to talk about and for us to connect you to an insurance agent to talk about your final expenses and how we can help with that?" And I said, "Well, the only problem with that is I've decided I'm not gonna die." Click.
Yeah, you have to block those callers, you
Yeah.
have to block them. Yeah, yeah.
What a horrible job that would be
Oh my
to be
God.
to be a telemarketer that's talking about.
It's
Do you
terrible.
do you want people to know about you and take care so that you can take care of your final expenses so they don't have to decide if they're gonna cremate you or bury you or whatever you're gonna do and stuff like that. It's just
Yeah,
it's but death is a common denominator that we all face, and how we deal with that diagnosis and that 6-month period is fascinating to me.
yeah. Um, the question is, what do you prefer? Do you prefer to know that you have 6 months or not? That's the question. If you know, you can do certain things. Well, if you don't know, you might waste your time away. I don't know. It's
That
like,
is That is one of those major quandaries of life. Would you
yeah.
rather know? Um, well, it's like I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm 65, and so my my father died 11 years into the future of where I am and
Mm.
stuff. And so you start thinking about if am I going to make it in 11 years? If and what's all that like, and what's it all going to be about, and stuff. So it really is it's an important topic, and it's really isn't something that everybody needs to think about. Um,
Yeah, yeah, and I hope I did it with the book, that people think about it a little bit. It's a good book club book, because it's it's opening up a subject for discussion. And everybody feels a little differently about these things. We don't all feel the same, when it comes to death. Some people fear it a lot, and others are like, whatever, I do what I want to do now. I live in the now. And so there's no right and wrong. It's a good book, I think, to read in book clubs. Yeah.
well, and this is how this particular person entered the review. Miss Berry weaves lessons of living fully with storylines of a last chance at romance, mystery, and forgiveness. I've
Oh,
gone back and reread parts of the book simply to enjoy Miss Barry's beautiful prose.
oh
Um,
wow.
so
I
wasn't that nice?
I don't read my reviews.
Oh, you should. They're really good.
I'm afraid. It's like
That's all right. Sometimes I'm afraid to say, well, how did the podcast go?
yeah, it's hard. I mean, I want to hear from readers. I met a nice woman here in New York, and she says, "Oh, I came across your book." I mean, she knows a friend of mine, so that's why she came across my book, and she said, "Oh, I like this and that," and I love to hear that, obviously, and but reading the reviews is it's a delicate thing because you you know you never know.
Well, yeah, but here again, here's and by the way, I know that you said that you didn't get a lot of reviews, but every one was a 5 star.
Oh,
So your reviews on Amazon are
yeah.
all 5 star, and they are what I like about this, the way Amazon does it, is they're all verified purchasers.
Hmm.
So they can write a review, but then they go back and look. Well, did you actually buy the book, and did you actually read it, or are you Olivia's sister-in-law that is writing the review? That you know. So, but so that's really good. Full of love, thought provoking, with a dose of romance and a dash of sadness. Your debut novel. How does it feel to be have a debut novel out there, and now you're going to be a sophomore and come up with a second one?
um it just feels just fine. I'm thinking about it. I never thought about it because I wrote so many screenplays and things before, so it wasn't like, oh, my first work of writing, kind of. It was just my first novel, you know. So I didn't think much about it. I just wanted to give it life and bring it out into the world. And now I'm more thinking about um, how many novels or how many books can I write in a year? And
Ooh,
yeah, it times have changed. Readers want more content, and I mean, there are some writers out there, and I'm not um, saying that this is wrong or right or what is for everybody. It is different, and but they write like 4 books a year, and I know I just couldn't do it the way I write, and I just wouldn't work it, even if I would work day and night. I mean, every day. So I'm thinking about definitely one novel a year, plus maybe a little nonfiction on the side. Or if I don't write nonfiction at all, then maybe I can write a novel and a novella. I
yeah.
would I would like to write a couple of novellas. I have an idea that would be a book series, but it would be shorter books. I thought that might be interesting, might be something fun to do for the reader, also something light that they can take with them if they go on a mini vacation or something. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. But remember when I was telling you about that that it's always nice to hear a review from somebody that says, I couldn't put the book down and I had to continue to read it and stuff. Guess what? You got one. You want to
Oh,
listen?
yay. Yes.
I was and this is a verified purchaser, by the way. I was so involved with the story that I had to find out what happened next. It was so beautifully written, and I emotionally connected with the main character. It made me think that life is precious and reminds me to live life to the fullest.
Okay. Good. Good. I'm,
So
I'm
that has to make you happy.
I
A
am
ton,
happy. I am.
and I want you to think about this for everybody that took the time. These are all people, keep in mind, that took the time to write the review, send it into Amazon, read the book first, and then write the review, send it to Amazon and stuff. So for every person who does one of those, there'll be 100 people who won't, but they'll
Yeah.
have the same reaction.
That's true. And thank you for the ones who write the reviews. But thank you also to the ones who read the book, And I I honestly hope that people get something good out of it.
Oh, judging from the reviews, You know, um, a love story like no other, an amazing debut, very lovely and thoughtful novel. These are all what these people are writing, and it's just you should be very proud of yourself.
I am. Thank you.
Good, good for you. By the way, we have been talking with Olivia Barry, Barry. Go to olivia-barry.com and you can find out all of her things. Buy the book there. And she's got the other book, the new book, which is entitled Mornings in 50 Words, is coming out May 22nd. So that will be here very quickly. You're in the last trimester of birthing another book.
Yeah, I know. Pressure. The pressure is on.
Well, then comes the fun part, going out to the bookstores and doing the marketing and doing all that kind of stuff. That'll be that I know that's hard for a lot of people to do.
Yeah, it's really hard. The marketing part is really hard. It's really hard. Yeah, some people are better than others at doing marketing. Let's put it this
Yeah. Well,
way.
you can always do it the way that I do it, which is I try and put the best podcast I can, meet the best people I can, do the best job I can, and then I leave it to somebody else to determine if somebody's going to listen to it or not.
Exactly. I do the same thing. I do connect with people, and I'm talking to some people in book clubs, and I'm always willing to come on their Zoom call for, like, I mean, if they're in New York right now, I'm in New York, and then I'm obviously happy to join them for like an hour and talk to them. So it's like, you know. I believe really in word of mouth, in putting out. My job is to put out the best quality book I can put out. That is
That's
my job. And then the marketing part, I think it comes eventually by people just talking about it, and hopefully telling their friends and saying, "Oh, I read this book and I really liked it." And, you
Yep.
know,
It's the word of mouth. The word
yeah,
of mouth of
word of mouth.
there was a movie one time, had not much of a budget. It was starred an actor that nobody had ever heard of. He also was the writer, the screenwriter, and nobody had heard of him doing that either. And word of mouth got out about it, and it became a huge hit and won Oscar for Best Picture. Of course, I'm talking about Rocky. That was just word of mouth. Just people said, "You've got to go see this
Yeah,
movie." So, so that's
exactly.
gonna happen. That's gonna happen with you too. So, is there anything else you'd like to add before we close the podcast?
Just that I'm always happy to hear from people. I have a newsletter, a monthly newsletter with a lot of fun stuff. If they want to know more about me, about my personal life, see some cute little pictures and get recipes and just know what I'm reading or what I'm watching on TV and stuff like that. It's just a fun newsletter. They're welcome to sign up. It's obviously free. Um, yeah, and otherwise, I appreciate every reader, every single reader. I do appreciate a lot. Thank
And
you.
by the way, you an adorable child. She has a picture of her when she was. How old were you in that picture?
um, where is that picture of me?
It's on your website.
Oh, it's on my website. Where when I was little. I don't know
Yes,
even.
yes, ma'am. Let me.
Oh,
uh,
I don't know even.
unless I'm was looking at somebody else's stuff about that, but I don't think so. Let me see if it was about Olivia.
Or do I look so much older?
Well, well, this you no, in this one, in this picture that you had, you couldn't have been more than 6 or 7. News and events, contact me, book
Where did
club,
I
screen
put
club.
this on?
I'm hopeful that I find it because now that I've said it, I've got to come up with it.
I don't remember, but thank you.
News and events. I think. Oh boy. Oh boy. Now the pressure's on. I better come up with this.
Maybe it was somebody else's website. No, but I have pictures of me. I have a picture um, of me in my bio, and maybe I have a picture of me in a little red dress. Is that the picture?
That could very well be about.
Because on that picture I was like 4 or 5.
I think that was. If I, yeah, I better find it. That's all I got to say.
Now I have to go back on my website, because I mean, I do update my website, but usually pictures I just leave the way they are at this moment in time because there's so much to update, Goodreads and
Oh yeah.
and websites and newsletters and blogs and there's a lot going on. So I don't know which picture,
Huh.
but
Well,
oh
I
well.
could have swore I saw a picture of a little girl on your website, but maybe this is the third interview I've done today, so it may have been somebody else. I don't know.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery. So, oh, Olivia Barry, thank you so much for being here. You're
Thank
going to be
you.
back on in May when the book comes out, which again is going to be titled. Can they pre-order it now?
Not yet, but soon.
Soon then you'll be able to pre-order the Mornings in 50 Words, and and then go to the website and find out when it's the 22nd is when. Is that a hard date?
It's May, yes, May 22nd it comes
May
out. Yeah.
22nd. So
Mhm.
that's good. And and you're going to sell 100,000 copies in the first day.
Okay. Yeah, I take that.
Yeah,
There's a lot of money then that will go to the charities. That would make me happy. Yeah,
indeed,
definitely.
indeed, indeed. Thank you so much for being here. And if you'll
Thank
stay
you.
right there, I will be right back.
Hey, thanks for enjoying this episode all the way to the end. Please give us a like and subscribe to this channel. This has been a production of PositiveTalkRadio.net. Please visit our website, oddly named PositiveTalkRadio.net, for more details about us and our mission, which is to provide great positive programming designed to inspire us all. I'm Kevin McDonald, and I'm proud of these shows, and I truly hope that you'll like them and share them with friends and family. So on behalf of our entire team, remember, be kind to one another because